Can you give me a note and I'll see, or a line or something?
Mulvey's was the first. Here, I'll type it in.
And it's a new paragraph, so it might be indented.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is true of mine. As Joe told us last time,
Mhm.
I believe he said this was the end of the fourth sentence.
Yes.
No, I've got Lahore. The waters at Lahore. What sentence is that? Does anybody know?
Mm-mm.
Am I backwards or forwards?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, actually. Anyway, we shall proceed on, Sylvia, and hopefully you'll be able to find us soon. So I'm the first reader. Let me just tell the folks out in YouTube. Hello out in YouTube. We're continuing with our reading of the final chapter, the final section of Ulysses. And I only mentioned this because some of you will be surprised to find out that there actually are sentences in this final section. And according to our resident expert here, we are starting at the end of the fourth sentence. So I don't expect you to be able to find that fourth sentence right away, but I just say it so you'll be aware that actually there are sentences, there are some periods in this soliloquy by Molly Bloom. With that being said, on we go. Mulvey's was the first when I was in bed that morning, and Mrs. Rubio brought it in with the coffee. She stood there standing when I asked her to hand me, and I pointed at them. I couldn't think of the word, a hairpin, to open up with a horquilla, disobliging old thing, and it was staring her in the face with her switch of false hair on her, and vain about her appearance. Ugly, oh God, ugly as she was, near 80 or 100, her face a mass of wrinkles, with all her religion dominating because she could never get over the Atlantic fleet coming in, half the ships of the world, and the Union Jack flying with all her carabineros because 4 drunken English sailors took all the rock from them. Because I didn't run into Mass often enough in Santa Maria to please her with her shawl up on her, except when there was a marriage on, with all of her miracles of the saints and her black blessed Virgin with a silver dress and the sun dancing 3 or 4 times on Easter Sunday morning. And when the priest was going by with the bell ringing the Vatican to the dying, blessing herself for his Majestad, an admirer, he signed it, I jumped out of my skin. I wanted to pick him up when I saw him following me along Calle Real in the shop window. Then he tipped me just in passing. I never thought he'd write. Making an appointment, I had it inside my petticoat bodice all day, reading it up in every hole and corner while father was up at the drill instructing to find out why by the handwriting or the language of stamps, singing, I remember I shall wear a white rose, and I wanted to put on this old stupid clock near the time when he was the first man kissed me under the Moorish wall. My sweetheart. When a boy, it never entered my head what kissing meant till he put his tongue in my mouth. Oh, it was sweet like young. I put my knee up to him a few times to learn the way what I did tell him. I was engaged for fun the son of a Spanish nobleman named Don Miguel de la Flora. Next reader, please, Katrina.
And he believed me that I was to be married to him in 3 years' time. There's many a true word spoken in jest. There is a flower that bloometh. A few things I told him true about myself, just for him to be imagining the Spanish girls he didn't like. I suppose one of them wouldn't have him. I got him excited. He crushed all the flowers on my bosom. He brought me, he couldn't count the pesetas and the paragordas till I taught him. Capo Keen he came from, he said, on the black water, but it was too short then the day before he left. May, yes, it was May, when the infant king of Spain was born. I'm always like that in the spring. I'd like a new fellow every year up on the tip top under the rock gun near O'Hara's tower. I told him it was struck by lightning and all about the old Barbie apes they sent to Clapham without a tail careering all over the show on each other's back, Mrs. Rubio said. She was a regular old rock scorpion robbing the chickens out of Ince's farm and throw stones at you if you went near. He was looking at me. I had that white blouse on open in the front to encourage him as much as I could, without too openly. They were just beginning to be plump. I said I was tired. We lay over the Fir Tree Cove, a wild place. I suppose it must be the highest rock in existence, with galleries and casemates, and all those frightful rocks in St. Michael's Cave with icicles or whatever they call them hanging down, and ladders, all the mud plotching my boots. Next, please. Or Sylvia. Are
Sylvia,
you?
do you know, have you caught up with us, Sylvia?
No, I think I might, but just carry on for a minute.
Okay, so Lois, you would be the next reader then.
Okay, just so you know, Sylvia, that reference to Lahore was about 10 pages past where we started.
All right, thank you. I know, I think I've got it, but
Okay.
just,
Okay, I suppose that's the next. Ah, I'm sure that's the way. I'm sure that's the way down the monkeys go under the sea to Africa when they die. The ships out far like chips. That was the Malta boat passing. Yes, the sea and the sky. You could do what you liked, lie there forever. He caressed them outside. They loved doing that. It's the roundness. There I was leaning over him with my white rice straw hat to take the newness out of the left side of my face, the best of my blouse open for his last day, transparent kind of shirt he had. I could see his chest pink. He wanted to touch mine with his for a moment, but I wouldn't let him. He was awfully put out. First for fear, you never know. Consumption. Or leave me with a child, embarazada. An old servant, Inez, told me that one drop, even if it got into you at all, after I tried with the banana. But I was afraid it might break and get lost up in me somewhere because they once took something down out of a woman that was up there for years, covered with lime salts. They're all mad to get in there. Where they come out of, you'd think they could never go far enough up. And then they're done with you in a way till the next time. Yes, because there's a wonderful feeling there, so tender all the time. How did we finish it off? Yes, oh yes, I pulled him off into my handkerchief, pretending not to be excited, but I opened my legs. I wouldn't let him touch me inside my petticoat because I had a skirt opening at the side. I tormented the life out of him, first tickling him. I loved rousing that dog in the hotel, resist a walk, 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 his eyes shut, and a bird flying below us. He was shy all the time. I liked him that morning. I made him blush a little when I got over him. That way, when I unbuttoned him and took his out and drew back the skin, it had a kind of eye in it. They were all buttons men down the middle of the wrong side of them. Molly, darling, he called me. What's his name? Jack, Joe, Harry, Mulvey, was it? Yes, I think Lieutenant. He was rather fair. He had a laughing kind of a voice, so I went around to the, everything was, mustache. Had he? He said he'd come back. Lord, it's just like yesterday to me. And if I was married, he'd do it to me. And I promised him, yes, faithfully, I'd let him block me now flying. Perhaps he's dead or killed, or a captain or admiral. It's nearly 20 years. If I said Fir Tree Cove, he would. If he came up behind me, put his hands over my eyes to guess who, I might recognize him. He's young still, about 40 perhaps. He's married some girl on the Blackwater and is quite changed. They all do. They haven't half the character a woman has. She little knows what I did with her beloved husband before he ever dreamt of her. In broad daylight, too. In the sight of the whole world, you might say. They could have put an article about it in the Chronicle. I was a bit wild after when I blew out the old bag. The biscuits were in from Benedy Brothers and exploded it. Lord, what a bang. All the woodcocks and pigeons screaming, coming back the same way that we went over Middle Hill, round by the old guardhouse and the Jews' burial place, pretending to read out the Hebrew on them. Next.
Do you want to go, Sylvia, or do you want to wait?
All right. Oh no, I think I've got it. I wanted to fire his pistol. He said he hadn't one. He didn't know what to make of me with his peak hat, on, that he always wore, crooked as often as I settled it straight. HMS Calypso swinging my hat, that old bishop that spoke off the altar, his long preach about women's higher functions, about girls now riding the bicycle and wearing peak hats, and the new woman bloomers. God send him sense, and me more money. I suppose they're called after him. I never thought that would be my name, Blue, when I used to write it in print to see how it looked on a visiting card or practicing for the butcher. And oblige, M. Bloom, you're looking blooming, Josie used to say after I married him. Well, it's better than Breen or Biggs. Does Brig, or those awful names with bottom in them, Mrs. Ramsbottom, or some other kind of bottom. Mulvey, I wouldn't go mad about that either, and suppose I divorced him. Mrs. Boylan, my mother, whoever she was, might have given me a nicer name, the Lord knows, after the lovely one, she and Lundito Laredo, the fun we had running along with Willis Road to Europa Point, twisting in and out all around the other side of Jersey. They were shaking and dancing about in my blouse, like Millie's little ones now, when she runs up the stairs. I loved looking down at them. I was jumping up at the pepper trees and the white poplars, pulling the leaves off and throwing them at him. He went to India. He was to write. The voyages those men have to make to the ends of the world and back. It's at least they might get a squeeze or two at a woman while they're going out to be drowned or blown up somewhere. I went up Windmill Hill to the flats that Sunday morning with Captain Rubius, that was dead. Spyglass like the sentry he had. He'd have one or two from board. He'd have one or two from on board. I wore a frock from the B. Marsh Paris and the coral necklace, the straight shining. I'd see over to Morocco, almost the Bay of Tangier, white, and the Atlas Mountains with snow on it, and the straits like a river, so clear. Harry, Molly darling, I was thinking of him on the sea all the time after Mass when my petticoat began to slip down at the elevation. Oh, began to slip down at the elevation. Weeks and weeks I kept the handkerchief under my pillow for the smell of him. There was no decent perfume to be got in that Gibraltar. Only that cheap Pu España that faded and left a stink on you more than anything else. I wanted to give him a memento. He gave me that clumsy cladded ring for luck that I gave Gardner going to South Africa, where those Boers killed him with their war and fever. But they were well beaten all the same, as if it brought its bad luck with it, like an opal or a pearl. Still, must have been 18 karat gold because it was very heavy. But what could you get in a place like the Sand Frog Shar from Africa, that derelict ship that came up to the harbour? What do you call it? No, he hadn't a moustache. Oh, that was Gibraltar. That was Gardner. Yes, I see his face. Clean shaven. Free fall, that train again, weeping tone once in the dear dead days beyond. Call, close my eyes, breathe my lips forward, kiss, sad look eyes, open piano. Next.
Or the world, the mist began. I hate that Istbags comes. Love sweet song. I let that out full when I get in front of the footlights again. Kathleen Kearney and her lot of squealers. Miss that, miss that, miss the other. Lot of sparrow farts skirting round, talking about politics they know as much about as my backside. Anything in the world to make themselves some way interesting. Irish homemade beauties, soldiers, daughters, am I. And whose are you, bootmakers and publicans? I beg your pardon, coach. I thought you were a wheelbarrow. They'd die down, dead off their feet if they ever got a chance of walking down the Almada, or on an officer's arm like me on the band night. My eyes flash, my boss, that they haven't passion. God help their poor head. I know more about men and life when I was 15 than they know at 50. They don't know how to sing a song like that. Gardner said no man could look at my mouth and teeth smiling like that and not think of it. I was afraid he mightn't like my accent first. He's so English. Old father left me in spite of his stamps. I had my mother's eyes and figure. Anyway, he always said they're so snotty about themselves. Some of those kids, he want a bit like that. He was dead gone on my lips. Let them get a husband first. Let her fit to be looked at. And a daughter like mine. Or see if they can excite a swell with money. That can pick and choose whoever he wants, like Boylan. He'd do it 4 or 5 times, locked in each other's arms. Or the voice either. I could have been a prima donna, only I married him. Comes love so deep down, chin back. Not too much makes it double. My lady's bower is too long for an encore about the moated range, at twilight, and vaulted rooms. Yes, I'll sing. Winds that blow from the south, that he gave after the choir stairs performance. I changed that lace on my black dress to show off my bulbs. And yes, by God, I get that big fan mended. Make them bust with envy. My hole is itching, always when I think of him. I feel I want to. I feel some wind in me. Better go easy, not waiting. Have him at him again, slobbering after watching every bit of myself. Back, belly, and sides. If we had even a bath itself, or my own room anyway. I wish he'd sleep in some bed by himself, with his cold feet on me. Give us room, even to get a fart. God, oh, do the least thing better. Yes, hold him like that, a bit on my side. Piano, quietly, sweet. There's the train, far away. Pianissimo, eerie, one more to sing. Duncan.
That's a relief. Whenever you be, let your wind go free. Who knows if that pork chop I took with my cup of tea after was quite good with the heat. I couldn't smell anything off of it. I'm sure that queer-looking man at the pork butcher's is a great rogue. I hope that lamp is not smoking. Fill my nose up with smuts better than having him leaving the gas on all night. I couldn't rest easy in my bed in Gibraltar, even getting up to see. Why am I so damn nervous about that? Though I like it in the winter, it's more company. Oh Lord, it was rotten cold too that winter when I was only about 10, was. Yes, I had the big doll with all the funny clothes, dressing her up and undressing that icy wind skeeting down across from those mountains. That something Nevada, Sierra Nevada, standing at the fire with a little bit of a short shift. I had up to heat myself. I loved dancing about in it. Then made a race back to the bed. I'm sure that fellow opposite used to be there the whole time watching with all the lights out in the summer. And I in my skin hopping about. I used to love myself then, stripped at the washstand, daubing and creaming, only when it came to the chamber performance. Put out the light too, so that there was two of us. Goodbye in my sleep for this night, anyhow. I hope he's not going to get in with those medicals leading him astray. To imagine he's young again, coming in at 4 in the morning. It must be, if not more still, he had the manners not to wake me. What do they find to gabber about all night? Squandering money and getting drunker and drunker. Couldn't they drink water? Then he starts giving us his orders for eggs and tea, findon heady, and hot buttered toast. I suppose, well, I have him sitting up like a king in the country, pumping the wrong end of the spoon up and down in his egg, whenever he learned that from. And I love to hear him falling up the stairs of a morning with the cups rattling on the tray and then play with the cat. She rubs up against you for her own sake. I wonder, has she has fleas? She's as bad as a woman, always licking and licking. But I hate those claws. I wonder, do they ever see anything that we can't? Staring like that when she sits at the top of the stairs so long and listening as I wait. Always, what a robber, too. That lovely fresh place I bought. I think I'll get a bit of fish tomorrow. Or today. Is it Friday? Yes, I will with some blancmange, a blackberry currant jam, like long ago. Not those 2-pound pots of mixed plum and apple from London and Newcastle McWilliams and Woods goes twice as far, only for the bones. I hate those eel cod. Yeah, I'll get a nice piece of cod. I'm always getting enough for three. Forgetting anyway, I'm sick of that everlasting butcher's meat. From Buckley's loin, chops and leg, beef and rib, steak, and scrag of mutton and calves plucked. The very name of it is enough. Or a picnic, suppose. We all gave 5 shillings each. Or let him pay and invite some other woman for him. Hmm. Who? Mrs. Fleming? And drive out to the furry glen of that strawberry beds and have him examining all the horse's toenails first, like he does with those letters. Next.
No, not with Boylan there. Yes, with some cold veal and ham mixed sandwiches. There are little houses down at the bottom of the banks there on purpose, but it's as hot as blazes, he says, not a bank holiday anyhow. I hate those Rook of Marianne coal boxes out for the day. Whit Monday is a cursed day, too. No wonder that bee bit him. Better than seaside, but I'd never again in this life get into a boat with him, after him at Bray telling the boatman he knew how to row. If anyone asked could he ride the steeplechase for the Gold Cup, he'd say yes. When it came on to get on the rough old thing crookeding about and the weight all down my side telling me pull the right reins, now pull the left, and the tide all swamping in the floods and through the bottom, and his oars slipping out of the stirrups. It's a mercy we weren't all drowned. He can swim, of course. There's no danger whatsoever. Keep yourself calm in his flannel trousers. I'd like to have tattered them down off him before all the people and give him what that one calls flagellate till he was black and blue. Do him all the good in the world. Only for that long-nosed chap. I don't know who he is with the other beauty Burke out of the City Arms Hotel that was there, spying around as usual. On the slip always where he wasn't wanted if there was a row on. You'd vomit a better face. There was no love lost between us. That's one consolation. I wonder what kind is that book he brought me, Sweets of Sin, by a gentleman of fashion, some other Mr. DeCock. I suppose the people gave him that nickname going about with his tube from one woman to another. I couldn't even change my new white shoes all ruined with the salt water, and the hat I had with a feather all blowy and tossed on me. How annoying and provoking, because the smell of the sea excited me, of course, the sardines and the bream of Catalan Bay round the back of the rock, they were all fine, all silver in fishermen's baskets. Old Luigi near 100, they said, came from Genoa, and the tall old chap with the earrings. Next, please.
I don't like a man you have to climb up to get at. I suppose they're all dead and rotten long ago. Besides, I don't like being alone in this big barracks of a place at night. I suppose I'll have to put up with it. I never brought a bit of salt. I never brought a bit of salt in, even when we moved in. The confusion, musical academy he was going to make on the first floor drawing room with a brass plate, or Bloom's private hotel, he suggested. Go and ruin himself altogether. The way his father did down in Ennis, like the things he told father he was going to do and me, but I saw through him telling me all the lovely places we could go for the honeymoon. Venice by the moonlight with the gondolas, and the Lake of Como. He had a picture cut out of some paper. And mandolins and lanterns. Oh, nice, I said. Whatever he liked, he was going to do immediately. if not sooner. Will you be my man, and will you carry my can? He ought to get a leather medal with a putty rim for all the plans he invents, then leaving us here all day. And you'd never know what old beggar at the door for a crust with his long story might be a tramp and put his foot in the way to prevent me shutting it. Like the picture of that hardened criminal. He was called in Lloyd's Weekly News, 20 years in jail. Then he comes out and murders an old woman for her money. Imagine his poor wife or mother, or whoever she is. Such a face you'd run miles from. I couldn't rest easy till I bolted all the doors and windows to make sure. But it's worse again, being locked up like in a prison or some madhouse. They ought to be all shot, or the cat of 9 tails, a big brute like that would attack a poor old woman to murder her in bed. I'd cut them off then. So I would. Not that he'd be much use. Better than nothing. The night I was sure I heard burglars in the kitchen, and he went down in his shirt with a candle and a poker, as if he was looking for a mouse, as white as a sheet, brightened, out of his wits, making as much noise as he possibly could for the burglar's benefit. There isn't much to steal, indeed, Lord knows. Still, it's the feeling, especially now with Millie away. Such an idea for him to send the girl down there to learn to take photographs on account of his grandfather, instead of sending her to Scary's Academy, where she'd have to learn. Not like me, getting all IS at school. Only he'd do a thing like that. At all on the same account of me and Boylan. That's why he did it. I'm certain the way he plots and plans everything out, I couldn't turn round with her in the place lately unless I bolted the door first and give me the fidgets coming in without knocking first when I put the chair against the door. Just I was washing myself there below with the glove. Get on your nerves. Then doing the low gladdy all day, put her in a glass case with 2 at a time to look at her. If he knew she broke the hand off that little gimcrack statue with her roughness and carelessness before she left, that I got a little Italian boy to mind it so that you can't see the joint for 2 shillings. Wouldn't even team the potatoes for you. Of course, she's right not to ruin her hands. Next.
I noticed he was always talking to her lately at the table, explaining things in the paper, and she pretending to understand. Sly, of course, that comes from his side of the house. He can't say I pretend things, can he? I'm too honest, as a matter of fact, and helping her into her coat. But if there was anything wrong with her, it's me she'd tell, not him. I suppose he thinks I'm finished out and laid on the shelf. Well, I'm not, no, anything like it. We'll see. Now she's well on for flirting too with Tom Devon's 2 sons, imitating me, whistling with those romps of Murray girls, calling for her. Can Millie come out, please? She's in great demand to pick what they can out of her. Round in Nelson Street, riding Harry Devon's bicycle at night. It's as well he sent her where she is. She was just getting out of bounds, wanting to go on the skating rink and smoking their cigarettes through their nose. I smelt it off her dress when I was biting off the thread of the button I sewed on to the bottom of her jacket. She couldn't hide much from me, I tell you. Only I oughtn't to have stitched it. And it on her. It brings up parting, and the last plum pudding too. The last plum pudding too, split in two halves. See, it comes out no matter what they say. Her tongue is a bit too long for my taste. Your blouse is open too low, she says to me. The pan called it the kettle black bottom. And I had to tell her not to cock her legs up like that on show on the windowsill before all the people passing. They all look at her like me. When I was her age, of course. Any old rag looks well on you then. A great touch-me-not too in her own way, as the only way in the Theatre Royal. Take your foot away out of that. I hate people touching me. Afraid of her life. I'd crush her skirt with the pleats. A lot of that touching must go on in theaters, in the crush, in the dark. They're always trying to wiggle up to you. That fellow in the pit of Gaiety, or Beerbum Tree, Trilby. The last time I'll ever go there. To be squashed like that for any Trilby, or a bear bum every 2 minutes, tipping me there and looking away. It's a bit daft to think. I saw him after, trying to get near 2 stylish dressed ladies outside Switzer's window. At the time, little game. I recognized him on the moment, the face and everything, but he didn't remember me, yes. And she didn't even want me to kiss her at Broadstone. Going away, well, I hope she'll get someone to dance attendance on her the way I did when she was down with the mumps and her glands swollen. Where's this and where's that? Of course, she can't feel anything deep yet. I never came properly till I was 22 or so. It went into the wrong place always. Only the usual girls' nonsense and giggling that Connie Conley writing to her in white ink on black paper, sealed with sealing wax. She clapped when the curtain came down because he looked so handsome. We had Martin Harvey for breakfast, dinner, and supper. I thought to myself afterwards, it must be real love if a man gives up his life for her that way for nothing. I suppose there are a few men like that left. It's hard to believe in it, though, unless it really happened to me. The majority of them, with not a particle of love in their natures, to find 2 people like that nowadays, full up of each other, that would feel the same way as you do, they're usually a bit foolish in the head. His father must have been a bit queer to go and poison himself after her still. Poor old man. I suppose he felt lost. She's always making love to my things, too. The few old rags I have wanting to put her hair up at 15. My powder, too, only ruin her skiing on her. She's time enough for that all her life after. Of course, she's restless, knowing she's pretty, with her lips so red. Pity they won't stay that way. I was, too. But there's no use going to the fair with the thing answering me like a fishwoman when I asked to go for a half a stone of potatoes the day we met Mrs. Joe Gallagher at the trotting matches, and she pretended not to see us in the trap. With Frieri, the solicitor, we weren't grand enough till I gave her 2 damned fine cracks across the ear for herself. Take that now for answering me like that, and that for your impudence. She had me that exasperated. Of course, contradicting. I was bad-tempered too, because how was it? There was a wheel in the tea, or I didn't sleep the night before. Cheese I ate, was it? And I told her over and over again not to leave knives crossed like that because she has nobody to command her, as she said herself. Well, if she doesn't correct her fate, I will. That was the last time she turned on the tear tap. I was just like that myself. They daren't order me about the place. It's his fault, of course, having the 2 of us slaving here instead of getting in a woman long ago. Am I ever going to have a proper servant again Of course, then she'd see him coming. I'd have to let her know, or she'd revenge it. Weren't they a nuisance? But old Mrs. Fleming have to be walking around after her, putting the things into her hands, sneezing, farting into the pots. Well, of course she's old. She can't help it. A good job I found that rotten old smelly dishcloth that got lost behind the dresser. I knew there was something. Opened the area window to let out the smell. Next,
Bringing in his friends to entertain them like the night he walked home with a dog, if you please. That might have been mad, especially Simon Dedalus' son. His father sort of criticised with his glasses up and his tall hat on him at the cricket match and a great big hole in his sock. One thing laughing at the other, and his son that had got all those prizes for whatever he won them in. The intermediate, imagine climbing over the railings. If anybody saw him that knew us, I wonder he didn't tear a big hole in his grand funeral trousers. As if the one nature gave wasn't enough for anybody, hawking him down in the dirty old kitchen. Now is right in his head. I asked pity it wasn't washing day. My old pair of drawers might have been hanging up too on the line, an exhibition for all he'd ever care, with the einmold mark, stupid old bundle burned on them. He might think was something else, and she never even rendered them. She never even rendered down the fact, I told her, and now she's going such as she was, on account of her paralysed husband, getting worse. There's also always something wrong with them, disease, or that they have to go under an operation, or if it's not that, it's drink and he beats her. I'll have to hunt around again for something. Every day I get up, there's some new thing on. Sweet God, sweet God. Well, what am I? Stretched out dead in my grave, I suppose. I'll have some peace. I want to get up a minute. If I'm let wait. Oh, Jesus, wait. Yes, that thing has come on me, yes. Now, wouldn't that afflict you? Of course, all the poking and rooting and ploughing he had up in me now. What am I to do? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Wouldn't that pester the soul out of her body? Unless he likes it. Some men do, God knows. There's always something wrong with us. 5 days every 3 or 4 weeks. Usual monthly auction, isn't it? Simply sickening that night he came on me like that. The one and only time we were in a box that Michael Gunn gave him to see Mrs. Kendall and her husband at the gating. Something he did about insurance for him in Drimmy's. I was fit to be tied, though I wouldn't give in, with that gentleman of fashion staring down at me with his glasses and eyes the other side of me, talking about Spinoza and his soul that's dead, I suppose millions of years ago. I smiled the best I could, all in a swamp, leaning forward as if I was interested, having to sit it out then to the last tag. I won't forget that wife of Scarley in a hurry, supposed to be the fast play about adultery, that idiots in the gallery hissing, the women adulteress. He shouted, I suppose. He went and had a woman in the next lane running round all the back ways after to make up for it. I wish he had what I had then. He'd too. Boo, I bet the cat itself is better off than us. Have we too much blood up in us? Or what? Oh, patience above, pouring out of me like the sea. Anyhow, he didn't make me pregnant, as big as he is. I don't want to ruin the clean sheets. I just put on, I suppose, the clean linen I wore. Brought it on too, damn it, damn it. And they always want to see a stain on the sheet and the bed, to know you're a virgin. For them, that's all that's troubling them. They're such fools, too. Could be a widow or divorced 40 times over. Daub of red ink would do. Or blackberry juice. No, that's too purply. Oh, Jemmy, let me out of this post-suite of sin. Whoever suggested that business for women? What, between clothes and cooking and children? This damn old bed too jingly like the Dickens. I suppose they could hear us away over the other side of the park. Till I suggested to put the quilt on the floor with the pillow under my bottom. I wonder Is it nicer in the day? I think it is easy. I think I'll cut all this hair off me. They're scalding me. I might like look a young girl. Wouldn't he get the great sucking the next time he turned up? My clothes on me. I'd give anything to see his face. Where's the chamber gone? Easy. I have a holy horror of it breaking under me after that old commode. I wonder, was I too heavy sitting on his knee? I made him sit on the easy chair purposely when I took off only my blouse and skirt first in the other room. He was so busy where he oughtn't to be. He never felt me. I hope my breath was sweet after those kissing comfits. Easy. God, I remember one time I could scout it out straight, whistling like a man, almost easy. Oh Lord, how nosy. I hope there are bubbles on it for a wad of money from some fella I'll have to perfume it in the morning. Don't forget, I bet he never saw a better pair of thighs than that. Look how white they are. The smoothest place is right there between the bit here. How soft like a peach. Easy, God. I wouldn't mind being a man and get up in a lovely woman. Oh Lord, what a row you are making, like the Jersey lily. Easy, easy. Oh, how the waters come down at Lahore. And next, please.
I think maybe we
What do you
should.
think?
I think maybe we should stop there.
Yeah.
Okey-doke. Perfect.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, we did.
All
No,
right.
so not get to the thing.
I suppose I could make the remark that I find it amazing that after she has all her reminiscences about her life when she was a young girl with Mulvey and Gardner, et cetera, that she is so critical of Millie. It's like, it's
I'll be envious of her.
that
That's what I'm thinking.
that Millie's that young again.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she has everything ahead of her.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Me too.
No,
No, I think
that
that's
makes sense. That makes sense.
because so she's seemingly disapproving, but was
Uh,
definitely like
yeah,
that when she was younger.
in a kind of way, and then of course she's, you know, um, there's lots of contradictions in here, which I guess is how us human beings tend to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
constructed. Like she she wants she wants to have a house cleaner, but she doesn't want to have a house cleaner.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm interested in how Joyce knew so much about a woman's cycle.
She had many sisters.
Uh,
And Molly.
And Molly.
Oh, Nora.
And
I'm getting the
Nora,
two.
yes, Nora, and of course his daughter Lucia.
Yeah. Wasn't he told Nora that she was pregnant?
Aha, Joe Kenny has
There's
arrived.
Joe. I was
Hi,
wondering where
Joe.
you were.
Hi,
Yeah.
I was actually beating myself up earlier, and I was saying, God, I should have sent Joe a reminder
Yeah.
about the time change.
Oh, no, it's not the time changes. That's okay. Coped with that.
Yeah.
Well, we read through the sentence 6. That's
We
where
read through
stopped.
sentence 6.
We finished sentence 6.
Right.
Yes, now we're where Sylvia thought we might be. We're up to how the water came down at Lahore.
That's where we finished.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's where we finished. So you got the exact right spot for next time, Sylvia.
Yeah,
Make a note.
I know, I've made a note of the page.
Yeah.
Number.
Mhm.
Do you know where we are, Joe?
Obviously, I have mistaken the time, have I? It's
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
Oh.
You're on
Definitely,
sentence
definitely.
6. Yeah, you'd be on page 666, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we've read up to page 670,
Oh, 670, right.
about 2/3 of that page. And
Oh, yeah, the waters of Lahore. Yeah, gotcha. Okay,
uh,
well, it's been great reading with you. Thank you.
You can watch it all back.
And Joe, it's going to be all changed next week again. I think
Back
we're
to normal.
It'll be
We're back to
normal
normal.
next week. Our time change, meaning the United States time change, happens this Sunday.
Yeah.
So the winter change is a little more merciful than the spring.
Yeah, definitely. It's only a week.
It's only a week.
We've 3 weeks in the spring.
Yeah. I've had to mind the hour. I've had trouble remembering which day it is. We seem to have had our Halloween holiday before Halloween. We still have to come to Halloween, and we had a long weekend last week. It's all very confusing. I've been here in the house of my own, so I've gradually lost track.
Yes, yes. Well, I should admit that actually I tried signing on to the Sweeney's Finnegan's Wake reading an hour too early on Tuesday. So I'm definitely not immune to all this stuff.
Yeah, I've had no contact with the outside world since probably the last time we read, so I gradually go off with my own world.
Uh-huh.
Or normality is restored.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one thing that I noticed, Molly, like Bloom, has this ability to go beyond her immediate space and time. They do it in different ways, but both she and Bloom are constantly going beyond their immediate space and time and thinking about other times and thinking about other spaces. What was it? There was one. And, I'm trying to remember the thing that we read today that made me think that her affair with Boylan, that this was part of a series and not just a one-off or the beginning of a series.
A series with him or other people.
With Boylan.
Right, right. But I love the way that she had this handle on Bloom, you know, that he had all these fanciful ideas that came to nothing.
Hmm.
You know,
Uh,
when they bought because they're living in a big house, and I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That this is a big house.
Yeah.
And he was going to make it into a hotel or what else, or he was going to have a music academy in the drawing,
Right.
in the first floor drawing room or a private hotel.
Mhm.
I think it wasn't actually a big house. It was sort of his imagination. And she calls it a big old place, but it's not one of the great big houses like the Joyce Center is in. It's was quite a modest house.
well, that's always the impression that I get. You know, it's like you're in the kitchen and then
Yeah.
kind of a little living room, and then there's the stairs going up to the
Yeah,
bedroom.
Yeah,
The kitchen is kind of in the basement. That's the picture I always get.
Yeah. Yeah.
5 rooms in the house in total, that kind of number. Like
was
Oh, really? I
quite a
pictured much bigger.
yeah,
quite
no, only her description of it here with him. You know, what did she call it? The first
She
floor.
calls it the big barracks, of
Big
a place.
barracks,
Yeah.
yes, that was a little confusing
Yeah.
to me.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, I
But
suppose
now
if
there
you're
was
hanging
there was a maid's room, right? Was there not a maid's room in the house?
maid's room, yeah, yeah.
And surely they had a second bedroom, which is where Millie would have stayed. Or
Yeah, yeah. I just can't remember the floor plan, but like it's it's like it's not a large house. It's like when you think large houses, you're thinking of these very big houses in Donnybrook or down around Mountjoy Square,
Yeah,
Square.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
one of those. This is a very modest by standards house.
Yeah.
Don't know the exact number.
But it's more than two up and two down, John.
It's little more than you have to count the basement if you want to get another third floor in, and that's
And
all.
and they had a commode as well, so they didn't have a toilet, or did
Oh,
they?
they've no such thing as a bathroom. No, no.
No, because remember, he had to go to outside to the end of
Yeah,
the
it goes
garden
out to the
at the
Jake.
start.
outside
Yeah,
yards.
yeah, yeah.
And
And
she
hoping that
uses the
nobody would
chamber
knock at the
pot.
door.
A lot of those houses had um, toilets built onto them, timber structures built out at the back, attached to the wall, one story up, and and
Yeah.
so the very very modest. It's not a tradesman's house. A tradesman's house would be even more modest, but you certainly wouldn't. What's his name for? There's a hotel type name for that. Where well, I can't remember what the word for it is, but a very small house turned into a hotel. There's a name for it.
A boarding house.
Oh, not a boarding house.
Airbnb,
No,
well,
a pension, a pension.
Pension.
bed and breakfast is usually, or
Too
Yeah.
fancy.
Yeah. Well, kind of team hotel. It's a word like that. You'd be looking at one guest at a time practically.
yes.
And that was the original notion of Airbnb, that you kept one person in your spare room, and now it's
Right.
become something.
Well, the actual origin of Airbnb was the guys who started it had a small apartment in San Francisco, and they started renting out an air mattress bed.
Oh.
That was their first offering, was an air mattress in their apartment.
Oh.
And they discovered that they had pretty good demand for it, and so they started thinking about getting fancier.
Yeah.
That's
And
interesting.
and now it's turned into something else. Um, there's another little thing just where I'm looking at this thing about the house, where she said, I never brought in a bit of salt. even
Yeah.
when we moved in. So salt must have been for luck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Pure.
throwing it over your shoulder, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was after an argument.
Oh.
Lois, you're going to have to turn on your microphone.
Thank you. There is a tradition when somebody moves into a new home that you bring them salt and bread.
Oh, really? I thought it was tea. I thought it was, oh, yeah,
Okay.
Bread, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And then he seduced her with all the nice places he was going to take her on.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, he wasn't ever, obviously he had a future as an advertising man.
Oh, definitely.
Oh,
Yes, he picked a good game.
I've met men like that or heard of them. Fanciful ideas.
In defense of my unfair sex, we are full of beans and vinegar when we are young, that we actually think we are going to do all these things, that the world is our oyster and it's just a matter of setting our minds to it. Of course, that gets beaten out of most by the time they hit their 40s. In the early stages, there are promises to be made, and they're made sincerely in most cases.
Mm.
Yes, and I love that expression. Afterwards she says, "Will you be my man? Will you carry my can?" He, he ought to have a leather medal with a putty rim for all the. I think it's a great description of and it kind of really captures, the bloom that we've been coursing with, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
She really she living with him for how many years? 15,
Mm.
16, 17 years or whatever.
15, is it?
15, at least 15, because Millie's 15. So,
Yeah.
15.
and if I remember correctly, she became pregnant with Millie pretty early in
Yeah.
the marriage.
Oh, but they didn't have to get married.
No.
No, I don't think they had to get married.
Yeah. A great expression as well. Anyway, sorry, that's just all the little things that tickled me when I was listening to.
Yeah, no, they're very important parts. But Bloom has always been a dreamer, and he's still dreaming.
Mm.
We're not that far removed from his big fancies about how they're going to have this big place in the countryside with
Mm.
lots of land and a carriage house and all that stuff. Like I say, the male version of Gertie McDowell's fantasies.
Hmm.
Yeah. All his fanciful ideas go and ruin himself altogether the way his father did down in Ennis.
Yeah.
Like all the things. And then he committed suicide. So she was very disillusioned with him by this time.
Mm-hmm.
She's very disillusioned with him.
Yep.
And this,
Yep.
she's probably trying to justify why she's been dallying with Boylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she has to work too hard on that, though.
But yeah, isn't that the way within a lot of marriages?
Yeah.
That, events happen and they're never forgotten.
Mm.
You know, I I notice it on the female side of my own family. Um, you know, like there was in 1941, a single German aircraft came over the Dublin Mountains and dropped a string of 5 bombs, one of which was within 100 yards of our house where my mother was asleep with her husband. And he had been out working. He came home he was a tram conductor, and he was home at midnight. He finished up at midnight and got home at 1 after a double day, and he was asleep. And she woke him up and said, I believe I heard a noise. And he said, you're losing your mind, go back to sleep. Well, I was 17 years of age, and I still would hear conversations between them. This is like the night that bomb went off. You didn't hear. He was 20 years later. I noticed that trait, but I don't see it. I see it only in the female side of the family, that they can pull an event out of the hat and win every argument. She's got that ace up her sleeve every time. The bomb.
Me too.
Well, it was probably the greatest example she had of how obtuse he was.
Yeah, it could have been also, if she wanted, it could have been the greatest example of how hard a working man she had as a husband. You know, and she was expecting my sister at that stage. And I was nowhere to be seen. I was in the distant future, but like it could have been a praise or a criticism, and it only ever came out as a criticism. And I see that in her, and I say this is just stuff that rumbles around in the back of her mind. I don't think she's trying to explain her own situation with Boyle, and don't think she feels any need to explain it to herself.
Mm-hmm.
And was Bloom's grandfather a photographer?
Was
Huh.
whose grandfather
Minister
photographer?
said to send the girl down there to learn to take photographs on account of his grandfather, instead of sending her to Skerries.
Whose grandfather, Anne?
Talk about Bloom.
1008, I'd say, line.
No, really.
And that's no help to you.
No, that's all right. No, but I'm just saying, what, Millie's grandfather?
I assumed it was Bloom's. Okay.
Yeah.
She says, Lord knows that it's why he sent Millie away with such ideas for him to send the girl down there to learn to take photographs on account of his grandfather. So that's Bloom's grandfather.
Oh, right.
No, her grandfather would be in the hotel in Ennis. That would be Bloom's father.
Yeah.
Instead of sending her to Skerries Academy.
Skerries was like
It's secretarial school where you learned how to type and take shorthand.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, second. All right. Yeah.
Getting all at school.
Well, I'm guessing because there used to be a Skerries Academy in Cork 100 years ago.
Oh, what's that? Oh.
Certain way, plots and plans everything out. I couldn't turn around with her. Well, she didn't spend too much time about that, though.
No, she didn't.
Because she basically moves very quickly to the idea that he was trying to get Millie out of her way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta go. I'm sorry. I have some stuff going on here, so I'm gonna disappear.
Okay.
Nice to see you all.
Yeah.
Okay, see you
Same
soon.
time, same place.
Bye, Katrina.
Yep.
Katrina.
Everything will be back kind of to normal next week, except we will all be kind of sleep deprived. Not just the people in Ireland.
8174.
Right. Okay. So that's actually the place where I was saying, only he'd do a thing like that, all the same on account of me and Boylan. That's why he did it, which I take as an implication that this is
That
not,
she knows that he knows that she knows.
well, and that this is not the only occasion for her and Boylan.
Yeah. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, but at the same time, we know when they first met, it was a few weeks before.
Mm.
So, and like that's there. But going to the photography, this is now taken from Sloat. Daguerreotype, right? There's a type of photography, early photography called daguerreotype, and
Mhm.
uh, the one of the earliest type of photographic progresses from Paris, right? The photo studio was owned by a relative of Bloom's father. A relative of Bloom's father, and that we get from Lestrygonians. So then there's a complicated note. If, as stated, Rudolf Virag and Stefan Virag, who runs the photography stuff, are first cousins, then Leopold Virag, Rudolf's father, is Stefan's uncle, not his second cousin. If, on the other hand, Leopold and Stefan are first cousins, then Rudolf and Stefan technically would be first cousins once removed, although terms of second cousin is often used in such instances. Now, if you can follow that, you're better than me.
Yeah.
He's not accurate about his grandfather, but
Okay. That's
it's
okay.
some
We'll move
sort of,
away we'll move away quickly
yeah,
when we go down that rabbit hole.
yeah, which is, like a lot of her stuff is vague and inaccurate, doesn't bother her, but that's
Uh-huh.
in her head. So,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
runs in the family, you could say.
Right. So do we know how long before this day Millie moved down there to the photography studio?
Well, she's only just gone. She's only, like that's the first correspondence from her is
That's
coming.
her first letter?
Yeah, and the meeting, first time that Boylan noticed Molly
Mm.
was in May. And you might remember that it describes the young May moon was blooming love. That this was the song that was being sung.
Mm-hmm.
Was on that event sometime in late May that
Late May.
made his
Yeah,
approach.
they touched hands, didn't they?
They touched hands and she touched his hand back, sort of thing.
Mm.
And Boylan has been engineering a meetup since then, or is remembering it.
Yeah.
And she's looking
Huh.
for
So
the gig. And meantime, your man has sent her off, the young one off down to Mullingar, and the first letter and postcard have arrived in. So it's really only a matter of weeks.
okay,
Yes.
so do we assume that Leopold Bloom was able to anticipate the affair between Boylan and Molly even before it actually happened?
No, he's not even 100% sure. That anything has happened today. This whole thing of him going for a walk.
He did see them touch hands, didn't he? Did
Yeah,
he comment? I have to find that.
yeah,
And then I suppose because the letter came and the concert's going to happen, just making sure. And when there is a space that's missing when he comes back from the outdoor toilet to when he goes into Dublin. So maybe he's talking to Molly then and asking her what was in the letter. And she probably says that Boylan is coming over to
Well,
practice.
Well, she does say that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually, we actually read that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's
I kind I
the only conversation we have between Mr. and Mrs. Bloom in the whole novel is that
Mm.
conversation.
Oh, right. Oh.
Yeah.
And is this the first time she and Boylan get together?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and
Mm.
and that there seems to be no second verse. So there's no second meeting up arranged.
Yeah, she's not really that.
And Bloom is only working on a suspicion. He's seen this letter, Mrs. Marion Bloom. He doesn't like the sound. He doesn't like the look and the sound of Boylan.
Right. Well, I'm sure that he probably knows something of Boylan's reputation as
I think
a man about town.
Mm.
And,
travels ahead of him, I'd say, yeah. And he's kind of he's not 100% sure.
And when they went home that night, didn't Molly ask Bloom, did Boylan have money? And he was saying, why? Because there was a nice smell from him. There was
Yes.
a nice scent from him because obviously he was clean.
They were
So she was interested.
They were together somewhere. They were in the DBC together, a group, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then they're walking along and he touches her hand and she reacts back.
Bush,
Oh, that was that in the Dublin bread place or something where she lost her glove. He was there with his two sisters.
Yeah.
Right. And she went back hoping to see him there again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
But it's not the first time her mind has wandered into other men. She gives us as well, I don't know whether it was today's reading or not, the description of the student across the road at the window and tried to communicate with him,
Yeah, and he's thick.
Yeah.
She shows that she's leaving the house.
Yeah, and that's Joyce putting editorial comment about his own novel in. He says, she says, if I was to write it all down and hold it up in front of them, they still wouldn't understand. People interpret that as, Joyce doesn't explain a lot of things, and that's his answer to that criticism. If I was to write it down, you still wouldn't understand, So, but it's all just to me a once off, and we have yet to finish the book. So I don't think Mr. Boylan will become a feature in the house somehow or other.
But is he not her, what do you call it, her agent or something?
Yeah, this is it. And to go off to Belfast together, sort of thing. And then she's sort of last week, wasn't it? Was it last week or she's saying, well, we'll be in a hotel together, and I better, I could put my ring away, or will I wear my ring or not? And they might call the police if I don't wear my ring. And they're good. She's thinking we'll pose as husband and wife in Belfast.
Yeah, but that was the whole thing. That people went to hotels in Ireland. Maybe they didn't do this in America. People would be checking to see whether a couple, a man and woman, were going into a room. They wouldn't be looking probably at two men because it wouldn't really cross their minds. Do you know?
I remember
just a little story for you there. My brother, it's about 30 years ago now, and he was living with this Chinese girl in Sydney, Australia, and they were going to go to China to visit her parents. So it was decided anyway that they'd, rather than be living in sin in her parents' house, they'd book into a hotel. So she warned my brother that the Chinese authorities are very strict and that they needed to show a marriage certificate. So anyway, my brother got the loan of a marriage certificate, and this is apparently before the days of cut and paste. He literally had to copy and paste everything physically. So he made up a forgery anyway of a marriage certificate himself and Jane, his then girlfriend. So they turned up to the hotel with their two Australian passports, two young people in their 30s, hands over the marriage certificate. The guy looks at it. This is a forgery. And my brother is going, how the hell did he know it was a forgery? And my brother says, of course it's not. He says, what the hell do you mean a forgery? Look at the bottom, he says, there's no registration number at the bottom. So brother had to spin a yarn and say, well, it's not the actual original certificate, it's a photocopy, and the photocopier was faulty and didn't quite fit the paper, and we just
Very
missed
good.
the number. But they let them in anyway to stay. But they were actually that strict that there was this young couple in their 30s with their Australian passports, and yet they were checking that they had a marriage certificate.
Did he have to pay the desk clerk a bonus by any chance?
Oh,
As far as I know, he did not, but I'll check that out with him now. That's an interesting point, Duncan. I don't think he did.
Okay.
I think he stuck to his original story.
Oh, I don't think they looked for marriage certificates in Ireland, but if you had a ring, one out of Woolworths would nearly do.
I remember booking into a hotel in Waterford with my then girlfriend. I would have been 22 and she was 21. And we booked 2 separate rooms. But when we arrived in to go to our rooms, one of the member of staff followed us up the stairs to ensure we went each to our room.
Oh.
It's ridiculous stuff,
Yeah, the thing,
Absolutely.
a friend of mine from Paris, a guy, they were traveling in Ireland. It was the time that Elvis died, and they came to where I come from, Slapanas, to our house, and we only had one spare room. I mean, these two, he had his friend with him, who wasn't his girlfriend, Sorry, my friend had his friend with him, but they were just friends. And I thought, oh God. So we said, listen, pretend you're her husband and wife to my mother, because I couldn't stand the complication. And she'd have to separate them and all the rest of it, because they were traveling around, so they were sleeping in the same room and maybe the same bed, but they weren't a couple. But so she, I had to keep reminding them not to slip up, and then I'd get in the neck.
That's hilarious.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Okay. That was great. Thank
a
you.
reminder that
Are we?
next week we'll be back to normal, kind of.
Yeah.
Jim, I don't know if you noticed yet or not, but I'm going to be closing out the meeting and within seconds.
Oh,
Yeah,
listen.
I forgot about the time change, but I was working late anyway, and I got caught in traffic as well. There was a crash, and it held all the traffic up. I'm not sure I'll be here next week because I think we're going out. There's a girl retiring. I think this next Thursday we're taking her out. But if not,
But listen,
please God, the week after.
Are we okay, Jim? Are we finishing on the waters of Lahore next week?
Finishing
Are we
on the
starting?
waters of Lahore, and so we will finish this reading. I think.
Oh,
We
will
will finish
we?
reading next week.
Yeah.
Finish the book.
Yep.
The book.
It's a good possibility.
Yeah.
Unless Dave,
even for us.
Unless Dave Small joins us.
I'd like to be there for the ending, but c'est la vie. Maybe Dave Small might
bring the book with you.
Yeah, I could. No, I couldn't really. I couldn't. On Tuesday, I'll check in with Ulysses.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, see you.
Okay.
Next
Take
week.
care.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. See
Bye-bye.
you next week. Bye.